So are health savings accounts really the panacea that financial YouTubers make them out to be? Do they make sense for everybody? What's the big deal? Let's go for a walk, and I'm going to straighten all of this out for you. And I'm going to share that I think, really for the majority of people, believe it or not, I don't think health savings accounts make sense. But let's start off with the benefits, and then I'm going to talk about why for most people health savings accounts probably don't make sense. Okay, so what's the big deal? Why are financial YouTubers like me always talking about health savings account? It's because it's the trifecta. It's what we all want. You get to put money in pre-tax dollars. It grows tax-free. And if you use it for qualified expenses, you can take the money out tax-free as well. So what's not to like about that, right? I mean, most retirement accounts, if you're lucky, give you two of those three, but none of them that I know of give you all three of them outside of the health savings account, right? Like a Roth IRA is good because the earnings grow tax-free and you take the money out tax-free, but you don't get to put money in pre-tax dollars. Okay, so that's a big deal. That is the trifecta. That's what financial advisors are looking for. But there's more to the story that's about to come. Let's keep going with the benefits. For the qualified expenses, you don't have to actually take money out of the health savings account. You can save these receipts, and the receipts never have an expiration date. So let's say this year you have a health savings account and you have $1,000 medical expense that qualifies. You know what? You can take that out of your HSA account tax-free this year. You can take it out in 5 years. You can take it out in 30 years. You can take it out in 40 years. And in fact, even after you die, before your HSA gets distributed to your heirs, whoever your beneficiary, if they're smart, they'll take that money. They'll say, "Oh, here's some receipts for some qualified medical expenses before my father passed away. So let's make sure to take that out before I inherit the HSA." So there is no expiration date on the receipt. So it's incredibly powerful in that regard. Now, you cannot use any expenses before you had a health savings account. So I think for most people, it makes sense to open a health savings account and to put some money in, because that gets the trigger going to say, okay, any health qualified medical expense, you can save the receipt and take the money out later. Okay, so that's the big deal. But let me tell you the dirty secret with health savings account that I've never heard another YouTuber talk about, and I think it's really, really important. But before we go there, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really does help the YouTube algorithm find other people. If you haven't subscribed yet, think about subscribing and leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. Okay, what's the dirty little secret with health savings accounts? And why do I think that for most people, health savings accounts do not make sense? And before we go there, I need to share that this is not financial advice. I don't know your specific situation. This is just something for you to think about and do more research. But the dirty secret is most people don't keep much money in their health savings account. It's just a complication. People watch a YouTube video like this and say, "Oh, we should have a health savings account." And you probably should, but most people are going to open it up and then they're not going to fund it. Here's some balances of health savings account. So the average 45 to 54-year-old, the average balance in a health savings account is $4,000. From 55 to 64, the average balance in a health savings account is $6,000. From 65 up, the average account balance is only $7,000. And the average distribution essentially for all of those ages is $2,000 a year. So does it really move the needle for you? Do you really need to have another account? Here's another stat. Almost 90% of people with health savings accounts don't invest the money. They leave it in cash. Well, the power is it grows tax-free. So you want it to grow, and hopefully you'll have time, right? The ideal situation is you don't use the money in the health savings account and you let it grow. But if you just let it sit in cash, boy, you're losing a lot of the benefit. You know, you want it to grow for 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 years and grow at the rate of the stock market over that period of time, not at the rate of some bank account, you know, some FDIC insured account. I think, again, I don't know your situation, but wow, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that helicopter behind me, but that's what that noise is. Okay, so that's the big mistake, and that's why I look and I say, you know, for most people, it probably doesn't make sense. Now, you know, you have to have, and having a health savings account is not just like an IRA where you open it up and you let it grow and you really don't need to track many receipts. There is some work with a health savings account. You have to keep track of your receipts, and you have to ask yourself, are you really going to track your receipts? So the example I used earlier, somebody opens up a health savings account and they have $1,000 expense. Well, you don't want to take that $1,000 out if you can afford to pay the medical expense outside of your health savings account, right? You want to leave that money in the account to grow, but you have to save that receipt. So are you really going to do that? Now, some health savings providers, health saving account providers will track that receipt. So you just, you know, take a picture of it and send it into the health savings account. And that's easy, but realize that that's locking you into that provider. And that provider can start raising their costs and their fees. And, you know, there's an add-on for this and there's an add-on for that. And by allowing the health savings account administrator, the custodian, to keep your receipts, you're basically locking yourself in. So to take advantage of a health savings account, you have to track those receipts, and I would say you have to track it outside of your provider. So, you know, are you the type of person that likes filing these things? And you've got to label it the right way so it's easy to find, so you're not going through hundreds of receipts, right? I would say you want to have, the file name should be how much the expense is for, and then what the expense was for, then maybe the date and who the provider was, right? All in the file name. So when you get to be 70 and you want to take some money out, or your kids are saying, okay, we need to do a distribution before it gets given to the beneficiaries, right? So when you pass away, if you have money in your health savings account, it passes to your beneficiary as taxable income in the year of your death. And so you really want to empty out that health savings account. Your beneficiary is going to want to, is really hoping that they're going to find a box of receipts that they can take out these expenses as medical expenses. So again, this is not tax advice. I'm not an expert on health savings account. I just want to alert you to these things and get you thinking about these. But if you're not the type of person that's going to save the receipts, if you're only going to have a $4,000 or $5,000 balance in it, you know, if you haven't maxed out your Roth, if you haven't maxed out your regular IRA, yes, there's tax advantages, but is it really worth the headache? Is it really going to move the needle for you? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I can't make that decision for you. Only you and your accountant or you and your fee-only financial advisor can do that. But what I can tell you is if you enjoyed this video, you're likely going to enjoy this video up here that talks about average income in retirement, and this video down here that talks about 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.